Hello, my name is Aaron McCray, and I'm a service delivery executive here at Ignyte. I'm a cybersecurity and risk management professional by trade. I'm also a commander in the United States Navy Reserves. Feel free to reach out to me and connect with me on LinkedIn. Today we're going to briefly talk about one of the changes to CMMC 2.0 that you should be aware of: practice levels versus maturity levels. When CMMC was first introduced by the DoD, its sole purpose was to normalize and standardize cybersecurity preparedness across the defense industrial base, or the DIB for short. Essentially, the federal government recognized a weakness in cybersecurity hygiene practices in their supply chain. And so CMMC became the de facto standard that the DIB, or the supply chain, would be held to. To achieve a given CMMC level, an organization must have demonstrated both the technical practices and the maturity processes defined at a specific level. Ironically, it appears that the maturity processes have gone away. It remains to be seen how or if the DoD will address maturity in the rulemaking process for 2.0. So do we drop one of the M's in CMMC? Seems kind of silly, but I guess time will tell. The maturity portion of CMMC came from the Capability Maturity Model Integration, or CMMI, process developed by Carnegie Mellon University in conjunction with the DoD and the U.S. government. Its purpose was to be used as a common requirement in selection in government software development contracts. It then became the foundational element for the maturity process levels in CMMC 1.0. Now, maturity levels differ from practice levels. Practice levels are essentially the controls that have to be in place to achieve a certain level in CMMC. In theory, however, you could have controls in place to achieve that level but still be considered immature. So for example, level 3 are good. You could have the practices in place but still be immature in how those practices are implemented. For example, they could be performed but not yet documented, measured, and continuously improved upon. So now that we understand the differences between practice levels and maturity levels, how does it apply to CMMC 2.0? And what does this mean when it comes to assessments? As you can tell on the screen, there are now 3 levels in CMMC 2.0. This has been reduced from the 5 levels previously in CMMC 1.0. But just like at CMMC 1.0, the 3 levels are based on specified practices with increasing sophistication. Each level builds upon the previous level. So, for example, to achieve level 3, you must have implemented the practices from level 1 and level 2, as well as the 35 additional controls at level 3. And while CMMC 1.0 required third-party assessments for all levels, that has changed in 2.0. In certain circumstances now, you can self-assess. For example, level 1, you can perform an annual self-assessment, and the company will self-certify. It's my assumption that senior executives will have to sign off or attest to these self-certifications. Level 2 is where it gets a little bit difficult. It's a bifurcated process, meaning if your organization is deemed to handle critical national security information, you are going to be required to have a triannual third-party assessment by a C3PAO. If you're not one of those organizations, just like level 1, you can self-attest. Level 3 has not changed. It's very similar to level 5 in the old model. It's a government-led assessment, and it is a requirement, most likely to be performed by the DIBCAC. Additionally, I think it's important to note that under certain circumstances, and they have yet to be defined, the DoD intends to allow contractors to continue to utilize POAMs to achieve certification compliance. This goes to the additional or included flexibility in CMMC 2.0, where at level 1, certain organizations may not even have to comply with the requirements at all. Again, that is under certain limited circumstances that have yet to be defined. So let's recap, shall we? Maturity processes appear to have been removed from 2.0. Levels have been reduced, the practice levels, from 5 to 3. And these new levels at 2 and 3 are based on NIST Special Publications 171 and 172. And depending on the level that you need to certify at will determine the type of assessment you have to have. Thank you for tuning in to this short session, this video session. If you have any comments or questions about the new levels in CMMC 2.0, please reach out to us at info@ignyteplatform.com.